Hello and welcome. I am the Restless Kaiser, and once again we are modelling for advantage. Another full and packed show for you today. This week's feature is predominantly about Space Marines in the Warhammer 40k universe. Throughout this lockdown period, we're putting out 2 videos a week, or at least for the moment. On a Wednesday, we're putting out an update video, and on a Friday, we're putting out some content we recorded from before the lockdown. Last week's video was a 40k video featuring the Nurgle Daemons, the crack of Rotigus, as we are starting to call the warband, facing off against Mycadians. And this week we have our Hit the Beach Flames of War special, which is our 15mm World War II Flames of War game using the Hit the Beach starter set from Flames of War, but featuring a winter 1944 board and paint scheme. I hope you'll enjoy that, so check that out on Friday. In this week's show, after a little bit of news, you're going to see updates from the various contributors of the show on their Space Marine forces for 40k. We're going to give you a recommendation of a YouTuber that you may or may not have come across before. And we're going to close with a segment, a regular feature of ours, which is some Chaos Demons from Team Clueless 40k. So I guess the principal news this week, and I can't believe that any of you that care about it haven't heard, is that Games Workshop are once again opening for online business. This is interesting. It seems that their online store is in fact open. Who knows how long it'll take them to fulfill those orders. And I don't know what that means for smaller independent traders, your local friendly gaming store. I'm hoping that they're going to start satisfying orders to those guys as well, because they're predominantly ordering online just like everybody else. I'm waiting for my Saga of the Beast box, for example, which I ordered through my local store before the lockdown. As soon as they get hold of it, you can expect to see an unboxing of that on the channel, and we'll get into a review of the rules that come with Saga of the Beast. For those that are interested, Space Wolf players, of course, and I suppose a few of you like Orcs as well. Speaking of online orders, and I might be teaching Grandma to suck eggs here, but something that I fell foul of in the early days, and is worth thinking about, is when you put an online order together, pay very close attention to what is in stock and what isn't. And don't mix the two up in a single order. Most of the companies are offering free or very cheap shipping at the moment. And I'm not saying don't order something that isn't available at the moment, but don't put it on the same order as something that is, because your whole order might be sat in their warehouse for a very long time waiting to be fulfilled. I fell foul of this through Wayland Games a few times in the early days before I realised I was just mixing the things up, just making a basket of all the things I wanted. And it may be that 1 or 2 of those items you're going to wait a very long time for, as a third party has got to send it to whichever particular distribution company you're using. So wherever possible, don't mix up the two. So let's start the Space Marine feature by having a hear from Mr. Johnny B over in the bunker. Let's hear it, John.
Thank you, Kaiser. This week sees Angels of Death. Let's go have a little look. Boop. This is my standing army, but this is heresy. But this for the win. Well, that's all I got time for this week.
Whoopi,
So
I stretched your gaming pants.
So John has said to me on record that those I Love Gilliman underpants will form part of the 1,000 subscriber giveaway eventually when we get there. Who knows whether you want them, but they will be part of that package. Some of you know already, my Space Marines are Space Wolves. We've kind of waited a long time as being the whipping boys of 8th edition with the new upgrades that we're going to get through Saga of the Beast and the lovely new Ragnar, the tennis player model that we're going to get. Hopefully, we're going to see some good things. So, in terms of the lockdown, what I've been doing with my Space Wolves, just reach over there, is going through the pile of shame and painting some models that I haven't used very much and haven't needed, but thinking, do you know what, if I'm ever going to paint these, it's going to be now. So I'm working on, for my wolves at the moment, some Primaris Space Marine aggressors with the Boltstorm gauntlets. I built these quite a while ago and then didn't get around to painting them. I've made a number of mistakes with my Space Wolves in terms of how I've built them and how I've painted them, and I'm stuck with it now because I have so many of them. We'll talk more about that after the next feature. So let's hear from Team Clueless 40k.
Hi there, Clueless Mike here. The Kaiser's asked us all to send in a quick video of what Space Marines we've been painting and hobbying on recently. So hopefully he's going to stick up a couple of pictures that I've sent him over. So I've just finished completing a Sanguinary Ancient and a squad of 12 Sanguinary Guard. They came out really well, I'm really pleased with them, but I've been painting them for months and it wasn't my favourite painting experience, to be honest. Too much white, too much gold, just too much stuff to paint on them. Other than that, I've also just finished painting an old metal Pedro Cantor model, and now I'm just working on finishing some Primaris suppressors. They're actually Mark IV Horus Heresy Space Marines that I converted to be my Counts as suppressors, and I'm also working on a couple of squads of scouts just to round up my 2nd Battalion of scouts. So that is about it. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for that, Michael. I'm hoping to get some Wolves versus Blood Angels in as soon as we're out of this lockdown phase. Looking forward to it. We've had a few games before on that front and it's been fairly even, so we've both got new rules. Who knows how it will go. Speaking about my Space Wolves then, so I'd mentioned these and about some of the mistakes that I'd made, and one of the mistakes that I made is I used sculpted bases. I was starting a new army, I didn't have any Space Wolves, and I thought, oh yeah, these sculpted bases, they're really sweet. I have said this elsewhere, but the problem with the sculpted bases is really there's a limited number of them that fit within a certain style, and they really don't work well necessarily with models that have got more dynamic poses or have got bits of rock or whatever on them. They just don't transition very well to the existing base. I'm 100 or so models into the collection, so it's too late to change now, but if I did it again I would definitely get rid of that decision. I will not be doing that ever again. Next up, the Space Marine collection is some 30k figures from Mr. James Workshop. Now then, James.
Hello, this is James Workshop for Modelling for Advantage. This week's topic is Space Marines. Now, I have not ever played Loyalist Space Marines, so what I've had to do is dig out my Horus Heresy Death Guard army for this week. This is a Praetor that I converted from a million different parts, from all sorts of different Space Marine chapters that I gained online or from friends in trades, even a little bit of a Tyrannid there as well. Yeah, I absolutely love this model. It was on Fet 212 Navca a little while ago as a feature, so I really enjoy that model. Next up we have a unit sergeant that I created that was designed to look as much like the 2nd edition plastic releases as possible, even going so far as to use the original backpack from that release as well. The final model we have is the Chaplain from Kill Team Cassius, which I have removed a lot of the Chaplain iconography from, and given a more chaosy bolt pistol and the Death Guard shoulder pad, and a nice simple conversion that I think turned out quite well. This is of course only a very short look at the models that I have available to me. Hopefully I can share some more on the channel in the future. So thank you very much for watching, and see you all next time.
Thanks for that, James. So, talking more about my Space Wolves, the second mistake that I made was probably an even bigger one, which was the process that I used for painting them. And it probably isn't obvious just from looking at this model, but I have got a ridiculously complicated method of getting the chalky blue here, in that I start with the Fang, Agrax it, let it dry, overbrush it to bring the blue back up, but that's giving me my recess shade. Then I have a series of 3 of the Games Workshop dry brush blues to bring it up to a lighter colour. I experimented with it and I quite liked it, but what I didn't think about was that this was about 5-6 layers just to get the basic armor colour, and there's really no touching up that can be done with these. If you make a mistake later, because it's got this layers of these technical dry paints on, you can't really reproduce that colour. You can't use that stuff straight out of the pot. And also, because of the different dry brushes, you can't really do a lot all at once, because how many dry brushes have I got that are suitable for this kind of work? And a dry brush, once you've used one colour on it, it's not like you can wash it and use it again, really. So I found that painting the Space Marines and these wolves has been really slow. I do like the chalky look that it produces, but I don't like the amount of time, not necessarily the painting time, but the between steps time, that kind of means I need to paint them in fairly large batches for it to be at all efficient. Last up, an occasional contributor to the channel who we're hoping to see more from in the future, Mr. James Green, who I think is pretty new to Warhammer in 8th edition, and he has played some Kill Team on the channel before. So, Mr. James Green, let's see it.
Hi, I'm James, and I'm here to talk about Necromunda this week.
Space Marines Week.
I'm here to talk about Space Marines. Yeah, so I play Blood Angels, much like the other Michael on the show, and this is one of each of my most commonly run units. So, I also have a small amount of Deathwatch. This is mostly played in Kill Team. You've probably seen it on the channel before. I think it handed Michael his arse a little bit. I was a beginner at the time, still am. But yeah, so you got the frag cannon guy, who everyone loves. If I could run 5 of them, I would, but I think 4's the limit. You've got the leader himself, who's lost a hand, battle scars. Then over here, you've got one of my favourite models, the Black Shield, with a Storm Shield and normal power sword. Then we've got the other weapons specialist. He's got the Combi Flamer, quite nice, auto hits on charges, pretty good. And then finally we've got just a normal guy with a Combi Plasma. These were, I think, my first 40k purchase and first models that I built and painted. Still quite proud of them for, you know, being back in the day at this point. And hopefully I'll be able to give them some touches up soon, because they're looking a little bit worse for wear these days.
If you're still here and you like what we do, as well as liking the video, subscribing, maybe even sharing it with friends or leaving a comment, why don't you check down in the description box and follow the link to our Facebook page, as well as obviously seeing links to all of our videos in there and engaging in comments with some of the other fans and followers. You'll also see more in the way of hobby updates, preview photographs of videos that we're going to do. Especially Johnny B is very fond of taking lots of stills whenever he does a nice new board for something like Bolt Action, and those all go up on there, just as a little bit of extra something to read perhaps or look at while you're sat at home on lockdown. Because I'm clever, I realise I forgot to mention my principal point when I put this figure out, which is one of the other things that I've been doing, which is, you'll see this guy has got no arms, is because to reduce the overall collection size, I have bitten the bullet and decided that I'm going to go for magnetised weapon arms and weapon options. A lot of people do this. It's not so much to save money on models, it's really to save space in my house. I've realised that as you know, it's all well and good saying, oh, if I want one with a power fist, I'll just build another one. So, yeah, but when you've got 10 different units, all of which have 3 or 4 sergeant options and other ones, you actually treble your collection size just to have these options. And everything's got to be stored. I don't know about you, but as I look across the other side of the room has got loads of, you know, stacks of cardboard KR multi-cases, and I just can't keep growing at that kind of rate. So that was one of the other things. And the last thing I was going to show you today was my Redemptor Dreadnoughts. This is such a tragic model in 8th edition, in my opinion, because I love the models. For those of you that know, one of these is an easy build and one of these is a multi-pose kit. And definitely, I don't feel you can easily tell the difference. This is about 16 parts and this was about 100. Unfortunately, with the easy build kit, you can only have the set weapon options there rather than the variety, which is a little bit of a shame. But as finished models, I think they look fine. The only thing I did to these, worthy of note, and it's certainly not my idea, but to try and make them a little bit more Space Wolfy, was to take some of the back banners and the thunder shields and just file them down at the back and stick them on. A lot of people use decals or decals, and for me, the colour difference is just too they look a lot like they're just stickers on the model. They don't look like I've painted them in any way. So I found this, not only did it give it a little bit of relief and a little bit of individuality, but it fitted in more authentically, and that was important to me. So if you fancy giving that a go. Both Warhammer 40k and Kill Team are regular features of the game, and it's a real shame with this lockdown period we haven't had a Kill Team game on the show for quite a long time. One of the things I'd be anxious to do as soon as we get out of this, get some Kill Team recorded and get some Space Wolves on the table. So I'm not sure you've seen much in the way of Space Wolves in our 40k games, and they really are, you know, my first love, as it were, from my boyhood. Speaking of Space Wolves, hobbying, and all things 40k, at this point in the show I usually recommend a YouTuber to you, a small YouTuber like us, who you may not have come across before. These guys, they're called Frost and Fist, they have a regular live show, and they've sent us a message. Take it away, guys.
What is up, beautiful people? It's Wolf Brother Mythos.
And I am Freak, and welcome to the Frost.
And Fists. Guys, we are a 40k focused hobby channel, and we mostly focus on live streams. Every Friday night you can catch us at 8:30 US Central Time, or unfortunately 2:30 in the morning for our UK friends.
Yeah, also we have our UK friendly live stream, and that is on once a month on a Saturday, and that is at 4 p.m. UK time, 10 a.m. our time. So
other things you can find on our channel include sometimes battle reports, sometimes showcase videos, and once in a while a great painter like Freak there even throws out a tutorial.
throw it out. Just
So guys, we would love to have you join us. We are all about celebrating the community and this amazing hobby.
absolutely, man. We'd love to see you.
Until then, guys, stay frosty.
As always, for this first series of updates, we're going to have a look at another Demon Prince now from Clueless Mike's collection. Thank you, Michael.
So we moved on from that to the next project. I wanted another Winged Demon Prince, but I wanted a bit more of a army showpiece. So I made this one out of a Tyranid Hive Tyrant. They're the wings. I really like the massive wings. It's properly imposing on the battlefield. And I wanted a kind of like slivering tail effect. So maybe a Slaanesh Prince. I painted this up to go with my Alpha Legion army. But I've used the tail from the Flying Demon Prince as well. And I kind of like always envisioned him as looking a bit like a genie coming out of a bottle. So if I go in a bit closer, you can see the top half of him is just using the basic Demon Prince kit again. You can see various parts there which you've seen on the last two models I showed you. Luckily the kit comes with comes with a selection of weapons. So I've got another different weapon here for this guy. He's got a sword, and I kind of like melted and bent his hand because I wanted him to have a kind of like Morpheus in the Matrix beckoning gesture going on with his fist there. And the wings, I just really like these wings. They're probably my favourite of the wings you can find to stick on a Demon Prince. If I just turn him around, they just look really good, really menacing, and really kind of like help him tower over other stuff on the battlefield. He does look a little Tyranidy in places. Obviously the tail looks pretty Tyranidy and the claw at the end, but I don't think it looks out of place on a Demon Prince. So that was that option.
Well, folks, that's all we've got time for this week. Our video coming up on Friday is a new Flames of War video, winter themed, using the Hit the Beach starter set. And next week we'll obviously have another update. For those of you interested, our plan at this stage, not quite sure whether you can get the content yet, will be the unplayed games. That vast collection that many of us have, games we maybe picked up at Salute or other trade shows that have sat in the boxes ever since. We're going to have a little bit of a talk about our stories, about where we picked these up and why. In the meantime, stay home, stay safe, take care of each other, and thank you for watching.
Don't look at my shame. No, not the shame pile, not the shame pile.
Well, that's all I got time for this week. Or not. Well, that's all I got time for this week.
Okay. I stretched your Gilliman pants.
But so close.